Nice.
I hit all the wrong buttons. I'm like,
There, your
I'm like
beautiful
1,000
faces
years old.
are. No. There's new technology coming out every single day. And it plays into the old soul shtick that we do, you know?
Yes.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Just, it's work at home day, so it's dragon onesie time.
I wish I had known. I have a unicorn one I would have worn.
Next time I will make it mandatory for everybody.
Literally trash.
Great.
To be in a onesie next time. Well, welcome to the Old Souls Club. A little bit more about why I do this, or because we as old souls, we get labeled that at a very young age because we don't necessarily quote unquote fit in with others around us because we are from another planet or are intrigued by classic things. We haven't always fit in, I guess, by societal norms. Because I mean, you two, you own a drive-in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not an old soul, I don't know what is. Now, just for the listeners, please introduce yourselves to the Old Souls Club.
My name is Matthew McClanahan.
Oh, I thought you were going to elaborate. I'm Lauren McChesney. We're with the Moving Picture Cinema, which is a company that started out doing mobile movies, like pop-ups, movies in the park. And we just recently purchased Shankweilers Drive-In Theater in Orfield, Pennsylvania, which is the oldest drive-in in America.
And the world.
Yeah, we just found out it's in the world. We have a Guinness record.
Lauren was always nervous about me because right off the bat when we bought it, I started making that claim. It's like in our intro video at the theater. It's like oldest drive-in in America and the world.
I was like, you don't know that for sure.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And then we found the Guinness record that yes, it is the oldest in the world.
Surprise.
And before someone jumps in here and goes, actually, the first one opened in Camden, New Jersey. The first one opened in Camden, New Jersey. It's long gone. It lasted for 5 years, and ours is still here.
It has stood the test of time,
yes.
And that is worth celebrating, my friends. That is absolutely divine. And what a cool thing. What a cool thing that in the world of Netflix and streaming things at home, that it's a testament that live performance, or just going to the movies, going out to the theater, going to see a concert, these things are so pivotal to not only society, but help us individually express ourselves, express our art. So that's a really, really amazing thing. That's kudos.
Yay.
Thank you.
Marvelous.
Like, I know people love watching things at home on their couch. And that's something that people have asked me a lot is like, how are you gonna combat like people's desire to stay home in their pajamas? But the thing about the drive-in is it's not like going to like a multiplex. Like, it's a whole experience where you're going and you're parking, and it just feels very like vintage, and you get food. It's just a whole vibe that you don't get when you're at home. And we're finding that people are really attracted to that. And some of them don't even care what the movies are. They just show up.
Yeah, the whole thing is experiential. There's a big atmospheric element to it. And it's a very casual thing to do. You can show up in your pajamas at the drive-in. Sometimes our staff works in pajamas at the drive-in. So,
especially if you're showing a film like Slumber Party Massacre.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody comes in your onesies.
It's a business that lends itself to coziness and comfort and togetherness, and in a way that I think a traditional theater does not. And and there's also, you know, it affords people the opportunity to kind of relax and even talk amongst themselves. They're in their own car, they're in a little bubble, so they don't have to necessarily worry about the people directly next to them. They can munch on their popcorn. They can talk to each other quietly. It's not going to bother anybody else. So it is definitely a little more relaxed than, say, a traditional theater.
Yeah.
But my brain just, before we go any further, because then we can talk about the way, the positive effect that the pandemic kind of created a new vehicle or a new rebirth of the drive-in, so to speak. How is your Blanche bathroom? I remember I have the pictures. I showed it to our Blanche. She loved it. It was hooting and hollering.
I mean, so when you're talking about like old souls, I love the Golden Girls like forever. And I bought this house a few years ago. It's 1950s. It has like original pink tile. And I was like, what am I gonna do with this? But then I was like, well, why don't I just throw in some like gold and some banana leaf print? And then I found this like huge portrait of Blanche where she's like amongst the banana leaves and like there's cheesecake floating around her. Like it's incredible. So I was like, all right, well, this is now a shrine to Rue McClanahan.
And I moved in and said, you cannot ever renovate this bathroom.
Yeah. Yep, that's just it forever now. So.
Beautiful. We should all
it's
strive to
immaculate.
find someone like
I
that.
think the best thing about it
Yeah.
is it's in good shape, and it's such a beautiful period piece. Like it is the 1950s. You go in there and you kind of go back in time a little bit. And it has the weird shower.
Yeah,
it's my favorite shower in the world.
It's a weird shaped square. The back's of a square.
Great.
Yeah, so bizarre.
I mean, I know just by hearing you say that we love things with history. We love to immerse ourselves with classic things and being. That's why I love going to record shops or going vintage shopping or thrifting, because you're like, oh, what is this? Who had this piece? What is the story of this piece? Who the hell would buy this and put it in their living room? This porcelain cat or whatever, you know?
Yes.
But that's how I know we're from the same world, which is, you know, that's what I wish for everyone to do, is to find their tribe, so to speak. I think that the people in this world would be a lot happier if they could find, if they could just venture out of their Netflix cube that they're living in and go out there and meet people and say hello. And that's how we met. I was like, I'm en route to a gig. I'm hosting a bingo in somewhere Pennsylvania. I'll just make it on my route, and I'm gonna go meet my new friends over at the Bushkill Park. Yes,
yeah, Bushkill Park.
Which when I read it at first, and then when you pull up Bushkill Park, you're like, all right, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And it was marvelous. And I'd never seen Carnival of Souls before, and it was great. And there was a wonderful, wonderful turnout there. And it added to the spookiness of the film too, where it's like, ooh, it is very like it's abandoned amusement park in the middle of nowhere. Yes, immersive theater. Going now, let's get back to the boom, so to speak, of the rebirth of the drive-in and how it did affect, I feel, and talking to a lot of other like-minded individuals, where you could go out, experience the going to the movies in a safe way, social distancing and this and masks. And do you both feel that it was a positive rebirth or an introduction to people who may have never been?
think it was a mixed bag. I think there was definitely a immediate resurgence of it and a rediscovery of it for a lot of people. And the beautiful thing about that is people rediscover it and now they just keep going to it because they realize this is a wonderful experience. I prefer this to being packed like a sardine inside. I love having the space. I love having the fresh air. We also have the best popcorn here in the Lehigh Valley, so we got that going for us too.
Yeah.
But you know, the flip side is, you know, when the world shut down, so did Hollywood, and a lot of drive-ins actually closed immediately after the lockdowns because there was an absence of new product. And a lot of the operators of these theaters, they were old school. They ran these theaters like they were, you know, open in the 50s and 60s. They wanted first run product. They wanted to show the movie of the week, and there was none. And they weren't able to pivot and figure out how to bring in creative programming, how to diversify events in the theater. They just didn't have that sort of wider view of how to run their business. And unfortunately, it led to a lot of them just sort of not really stagnating, but floundering a little bit. In what I would say it was an opportunity to really grow the media. And so we're coming into this in sort of a unique spot because Shankweilers is a community staple. It's a very well-known theater. It sells out regularly, but the last couple of years haven't been easy for it either. And it a lot of it's attributed to lack of product, not a very diverse programming, kind of relying on whatever Hollywood was putting out at the time, which in 2021 was weak. So
there's only so many times you can watch
Trolls World Tour.
Trolls World Tour. What is that?
It's a kids movie. It's
about
animated.
troll dolls.
It's the troll doll like movie. Yeah, it's a thing. And this was the
I thought you were talking about
This was the
Trolls
two.
from the 80s.
No.
Oh,
The
it's a
little
little
dolls with like the
multicolored,
little
like,
gem. Yeah.
yes.
But that
yes.
was that was the only new movie that had come out during that time. It was like, that was pretty much it.
That was it.
And so,
For the longest time.
everyone either had to show that or they had to be creative and come up with different movies that might intrigue people that were older. And I think that's a big struggle for people who are really used to it being very routine and just letting their booker, book whatever is new. Being creative was a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. And so we unfortunately saw a lot of theaters fall because of that. It was kind of odd because everyone loves going to these drive-ins, and then suddenly we start seeing them all close, and we're all like, "What's happening?" Well, it's just the model wasn't evolving with the changing situation, and that's something that unfortunately is just sort of a reality we came into. But we're very creative, and we are definitely making a lot of moves to bring a lot of new experiences and programming and events and partnerships to this theater that it hasn't seen, and using the space in ways that it's never been used before. You're sitting on a large property that has a snack bar and bathrooms. It's level. It's a perfect menu for all kinds of things, and it just sits there all day. Yep. There's so much opportunity to do a lot of stuff. So that's what we're working on is sort of expanding that to be not just the movies, but we will always play the movies.
Oh, yeah.
We'll always do a great job with that.
The movies will always be there, and it, as long as creativity is sitting right next to you in the passenger seat. I mean, being in the business of show is very it could beat down the creative souls because XYZ or this person is producing it and wants this and this and this. But I think that there's something so magical about what you two are doing, and the fact that you not only lead with your heart and soul that is fueled with creativity and love and bringing people together. I think that it's a beautiful thing. We need more people in the world to do what they love. And I'm just gonna park my trailer because I have a 1973 trailer. I'm just gonna park it on your property, and we'll talk about rental rates and things like that. Or I'll sing for my supper. I'll host whatever you need me to host. Just be like, oh yeah, there's Very Jerry over there in his 1973 retro vintage camper. But now people are doing that. There's campgrounds, there's boutique campgrounds, glamping, this and that, where people are flipping these RVs, and it's. I think it is.
We're there too. We have a vintage pop-up that we renovated last year.
Yeah.
And before that, in my past life, at another drive-in, I used to live in a 1978 camper.
You see?
So that vibe is definitely, I have a little piece of that with me.
Marvelous. Like I said, we find each other.
You know, the more old campers we buy, the more I get to like renovate and paint them. So.
I buy the trash, she makes it nice.
Yeah.
A yin to a yang. How did you two old souls, how did you two fabulous beings find each other?
Well, this will be shocking to everyone to hear, but we met at a drive-in.
What? You two? No, at a drive-in? Oh.
Matt was running one and I was a customer, and that's it.
And then I found her on Instagram.
Oh,
She made
yeah.
a post about a telephone pole being replaced, and I
Yeah.
commented on it.
Yeah. And then,
So great
then we
meetup
started,
story.
we started texting. I was at Dutch Wonderland with a friend and her daughter. And so then I just started sending him weird pictures, because I don't know if you've ever been to Dutch Wonderland, but it is a very strange little amusement park.
We're gonna have a big family outing then.
it's interesting. So then we kind of bonded
like
about
Amish?
that.
Is it like Amish folks?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's
Pennsylvania Dutch.
it's
somewhere in the
Pennsylvania
Amish
Dutch.
Mennonite sphere.
But then they also bring in like off-brand versions of like Harry Potter. I can't remember what they call him, but he has a different name. So there's like a wizard show, but they won't call it Harry Potter. And,
no, of course not. Licensing, no.
there's like random things that kind of look like Frozen, but they're not. There's kind of dinosaurs, but not.
It's like the
so
Party City.
interesting.
It's like the Party City version of the costumes, like Frozen Fierce
Yes.
Girl, or you know,
Yes.
Stanley the Wizard, you know, things like that.
Yes. It is a fun place that I guess is very still on brand for me. But that's how we really bonded, I think, is because I was like, look at this weird giant pretzel, and he would make a funny comment about it, and we just chatted that whole day.
And then and then you asked, do you by chance like Golden Girls? Do you approve of Golden Girls themed bathrooms?
Well, that would have been very forward. I didn't want to invite him over to my house that soon.
When you were a child, how did you express your creativity?
I drew a lot, actually.
Cool.
I'm not any good at it. I was probably better at it when I was a kid than I am now. But that was probably a big medium for me, that and Legos.
And filmmaking.
And filmmaking. Well, filmmaking I kind of attribute to my more like transitioning into adult years, because that was a big like middle school through college kind of thing. I'm going way back. I'm going to like the prehistoric
Way
Matt.
The prehistoric Matt.
But his background, he has a strong background in filmmaking.
Yes,
and he has like a bajillion short films that he did in like high school, and right?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So I think I mean, not to answer for him, but Legos are great. But I think filmmaking was really his.
I started by building weird forts out of
That's
Legos.
true.
But then, yeah, I got heavy into filmmaking, went to college for it, have a degree in it, made a bunch of them. I mean, that's really where the love of drive-in sort of came from, is my love of cinema before that. And then kind of going into the exhibition side and the showmanship side of it, and sort of falling in love with this like idea of the movie palace, the place to go watch a movie. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be a lighthouse keeper, and I joke with people that I didn't stray too far from that. I'm still in an old thing that shoots light out of it, so I guess some way I've succeeded.
Name one of your favorite movies that inspired you as a child, Matt.
No, he said that.
For me?
Yeah. What inspired you?
Star Trek 2 and 3 and 4.
Oh my goodness.
I had those movies back to back on a my parents recorded them off of TV. They were playing them in a row. So I had Star Trek 2, 3, and 4 back to back on a tape. And I played that tape to the point where it couldn't play no more. The tracking was destroyed because I watched those movies so many freaking times on this like dumb 6-hour tape that I just wore it out. So I grew up with like old sci-fi, and it was just kind of a thing that I loved for the longest time.
Excellent. I never was a Star Trek person, even though I have one Barbie doll over here. Let me see. Where is she? She's here. I have to there she is.
Beautiful.
There she is, looking fabulous. And there's another male presenting Ken doll somewhere. But I was more of a Mel Brooks Spaceballs person. The stickier, the campier, the silly. Oh my god. Star Trek. There you go. Now, which one of your films that you created and made has been one of your favorites
that I've made?
Yeah,
it's a movie called Demon Stone. It's the only feature film that I produced myself, and it's a piece of work.
It's a piece of work.
And we're going to show a clip of that right here.
Yeah.
Inspired by like 80s horror fantasy, very, very derivative of a lot of 80s popcorn classics, but it has a charm for me because it was a very important period of growth for my filmmaking. It took 3 years to make, and in that time I made maybe like 20 short films that got better and better and better, but this movie always kind of stayed the same.
Demon Stone. I think we need to show that at your drive-in.
I will at some point. He's done it before.
Yeah, it's played at my old drive-in a couple times. I streamed it over the pandemic. We did a live stream of it with like a Q&A where we got to watch it and see how it hasn't aged well, but
hey, it's what made you. It's what brought you to where you are today, and I love that. Movie.
I embrace it.
I love that. I know.
Yeah, I love that. There was never like it's only been seen in theaters. There's never been a public like wide release of it. The only media that it's on that people have in their house is VHS. We made a run of VHS tapes that I made myself and distributed it at a film screening. So it does not exist, besides its theatrical form, it does not exist out in the wild except for a VHS tape. So I hope one day one ends up in a thrift store and someone discovers it. Has to sell it on eBay for $8,000.
I mean, like a found footage festival. What is this?
Yeah, there you go. The found footage festival. It's marvelous. Count me in. I'll be the first to get a ticket to that and support, because yes, I've been, the minute I could get my hands on a camera as a child, I was recording everything, putting the camera in everybody's faces, just, annoying the shit out of people. Didn't make any feature films like yourself, but hey, I'm at a point in my life where I'm saying, yes, you want to make a film? Let's make a film. We got it. We got campers. We got land. We can get an Airbnb. In the words of the great Liza Minnelli, my spirit animal, say yes. So I love that. I can't wait to hopefully see the film. Lauren, my dear.
Yes.
How did you express your creativity as a youngin', as a little youngster?
Oh my gosh, I was a goth kid. Does that count?
Yeah.
I had well, kind of goth punky. I had like hot pink hair for a long time, and the big industrial boots. I think that's the way I probably expressed my creativity. I was never like a artistic person, or no singing, no theater, no drawing.
You were a rebel.
Yeah, I guess. I wasn't even. I just had pink hair.
You just had pink hair. That's a form of rebellion.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Was it was it shaped? How did you do it?
No, it was exactly the same as it is now. It was just pink. Very, very boring.
No, I think the world is ready to see that again. I think we need to see Lauren in pink hair. That's marvelous.
Well, maybe.
Or I just want to see you in fabulous pink hair.
Well, I'm at a weird point. I've been talking to Matt about this, because before we did the drive-in, I spent like 20 years as a medical social worker. Like, I've always worked for like a corporation, companies that have very strict guidelines about what you're able to wear, what you're able to look like. And
yes.
so I really have had just like the brown hair for years and years and years. And now moving into this role where we're basically entrepreneurs, in charge of ourselves, in charge of our own schedule, it's so hard for me to break this, where I'm like, should I dye my hair? Because I was never allowed to. So we've been talking about like, maybe I'll dye it purple, and maybe I'll dye it blue. So we'll see. I think that'll be like the final cut the ties from that whole part of my life.
Your next evolutionary step.
My next evolutionary step. Yeah.
Yes, a million times. I was giving you thumbs up while you were saying, because you're entrepreneurs now. You own a business, and yeah, I think it's great. I support whatever hair color best feeds your soul. I love that. I think that it's wonderful when you can just grow up and be yourself and be applauded for it. I've been dressing up. I'm still dressing up. I'm still playing dress up in my everyday life, and it pays the bills. Thank goodness. So that's where we also are like-minded, because we both love the Golden Girls. I play a Golden Girl. It's just I'm very, very. It's very funny how life puts those things in place for you.
Definitely.
I've said it a million times. It's very important, I think, that to find like-minded individuals and people who support each other. That's the basis. If we as old souls weren't supported and applauded, we probably wouldn't be doing what we love today. So shout out to the cool people, to the cool family, to the family and the chosen family, and all the people who've added to us. With being drive-in operators, owners, business owners, what do both of you hope to accomplish and leave behind for the next generation?
I hope to accomplish profitability and leave behind a functioning theater.
Yeah, that would be great. Those are
Like, I want to in some way succeed, and then when I'm a pile of dirt in the ground. Somebody else is doing it and doing it better than me.
What I was gonna say is Matt and I both like to do weird, fun things. So like we like to travel, we like to look at weird museums and find like world's biggest, random stuff. And people are always commenting to us about like, wow, it's so cool that you do all these neat things. And, I wish I could go on these trips. And we're like, you can, like, you just need to look and you need to find these things, but you have the freedom to be able to do that. And I like the idea of running the drive-in because we're attracting people to exactly that. Like we're creating that sort of attraction and giving people the opportunity to do this cool thing that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise. I don't know. And hopefully it inspires them to branch out and explore and do other cool things and get out of the monotony of their regular day-to-day lives.
Yes, a million times everything you just said, because most people aren't lucky enough to be doing what they were placed on this plane to do. And I think that's where a lot of people, like you said, where it's like, oh yeah, I wish I can do this, or oh my God, you're running to this here or that. But you can do it too, if you just manage your time better, or just branch out of your Netflix cube. That's my new saying now. But most people aren't, I guess, risk takers. I don't personally understand those kinds of folks. I'm like you both, where it's like, if we're traveling with the Golden Gaze and we're in Vegas, we're going to go to the big neon museum. We're going to go to the Hall of Burlesque. We're going to go to, because that's what, I think that's what creative people need to do. And I think those are also the things that fuel even more creativity, where it's like, oh, I can put together a variety bill with burlesque and dancers and this and that, and show a cheesy horror picture. Let's show Abby from 1974. Do you know that film?
No.
Should we?
Really quick. Really quick. Abby, 1974. So the Exorcist was released in 73. And my friend Anthony and I, who manages the Golden Gaze, him and I go to horror conventions and we kind of run around. He would have come with me to see your film if he was around that weekend. We love to do, so we love finding new things. We love dipping into that world and meeting celebrities who had one line in Phantasm or whatever. So Abby was a blaxploitation film from 1974. It was released on Christmas Day, and it made beaucoup bucks. Well, unfortunately, Warner Brothers saw that this film was making a lot of money, and they started investigating, and they said, this is about demon possession. And we just released a film last year about a woman who was possessed by a demon. So because they're Warner Brothers, they won, and they own the rights to this film called Abby. Granted, Abby she's a woman about to get married. She's a woman of the church. It was it wasn't at all similar to Linda Blair and The Exorcist. It's almost 50 years later, and Warner Brothers has not released the rights. But if you go on YouTube, I believe it was found at a drive-in. I think it's a 16 millimeter copy. It's not the best of Abby, and I highly recommend it because if you like camp and cake and cheese and you just I think that you would really, really enjoy it. Yeah, I've been obsessed. William Marshall is in it from Pee-wee's Playhouse, and Blackula. I don't know if you saw
Yes.
Blackula, and that beautiful boisterous voice of his that he and Carol Speed, who was in a couple of films, but she really didn't do much. They're magnificent. I highly recommend it if you need a night of cheesy delight.
I will definitely look that up. I made a little note.
It's I don't know why it struck a nerve, and I'm like, this to me is gold. We need more of this. And yeah, so Warner Brothers should release the rights so we can all get a Blu-ray 50th anniversary copy of it.
Yes. Perfect.
I don't know if the world is ready for it, but damn it, they should be. This is marvelous. I'm so happy that the universe connected both of our worlds, and I look forward to supporting you guys more in all of your fabulous, fabulous endeavors. And I will tell all of the subscribers to the podcast about where they can find you and where they can locate you, and hopefully come see one of your films soon.
Thank you. And we're
Thank you.
open all year.
Yes.
So make sure everyone knows
365.
that.
Going to work tonight.
Have a magnificent evening. Lots
Thank
of
you.
love and continued abundance to you both. And we'll see each other very soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.